Think about the last time you were in a meeting or, maybe just at a social gathering, and you encountered someone who completely dominated the conversation.
Oh, yeah. We have all definitely been there.
Right. You know the exact type of situation I am talking about. Their rate of speech is just a little too fast. They are talking way too much, and they are relentlessly parading their knowledge.
hmm Dropping names and dominating the room.
Exactly. Making absolutely sure everyone in the room knows exactly how smart or capable or successful they are. And when you are on the receiving end of that, it feels incredibly abrasive.
Yeah, it really does.
You probably walk away thinking, that person is an arrogant know-it-all with a massive ego. But what if I told you that you are entirely misreading the situation?
That is the big twist here.
It really is. What if that behavior is not a character flaw, and it certainly is not an excess of confidence? It is actually a desperate, tragic defense mechanism. Yeah, it is an attempt to elevate their own self-esteem to offset a crushing, paralyzing internal feeling of inadequacy. We're talking about the profound grip of an inferiority complex.
It is fascinating.
It is. They are literally alienating the people around them in a desperate attempt to feel worthy of them. So, welcome to episode 1 in a brand new series exploring the book, The Power of Positive Thinking.
I'm really looking forward to this one.
Me too. Today, we are taking a deep dive into the actual mechanical architecture of self-belief and how your thought patterns do not just color your reality, they actively construct it.
Well, that scenario you just painted is the perfect entry point for this discussion.
Yeah.
Because it reveals a universal truth about human psychology. Our internal state always dictates our external reality, even when we're trying to hide it.
That makes a lot of sense.
And the overarching foundation for this entire series, the core philosophy we will be unpacking across these episodes, can be distilled into a very specific, actionable equation.
Oh, an equation. Okay, let's hear it.
The formula is this: faith plus positive thoughts plus persistence equals personal success and peace of mind.
I really like how clear that is. Faith, positive thoughts, persistence equals success and peace of mind.
Exactly. The central message here is that actively changing your thinking patterns can literally change your life.
But not in a toxic way, right?
Right. We're not talking about just pasting a fake smile on your face and pretending everything is fine. We're talking about the assertion that through highly disciplined optimism, through faith, and through the deliberate cultivation of self-belief, individuals can systematically overcome deep-seated discouragement.
So it is an active practice.
Very active.
Oh.
This is the pathway to achieving greater happiness and effectiveness. It requires recognizing a hard truth. Without a humble yet reasonable confidence in your own powers, you simply cannot be successful.
Man, that is powerful. Let us really unpack the mechanics of how we do that, because the how is where this gets really fascinating.
I agree.
I like to think of the human mind as being remarkably similar to a highly customizable social media algorithm.
Oh, that is an interesting way to frame it.
Yeah, think about how the algorithm on your phone works. It serves you exactly what you engage with the most.
Right, the doom scrolling effect.
Exactly. If you linger on a video of a disaster, the algorithm registers that engagement and says, okay, they want more disaster, and suddenly your entire feed is filled with catastrophe.
It just spirals.
It does, and your mind works the exact same way. If you constantly program your mental feed with what the author calls sinister expectations, like if you dwell on thoughts of defeat, ineffectiveness, and fear, your internal algorithm is only going to serve you more insecurity.
That is a brilliant analogy.
Thanks. You are literally training your brain to scan your environment for evidence that you are going to fail. You are creating, by the power of your own thought, the very condition you fear. But I have to ask you, is it truly possible to override years of that negative programming simply by choosing different thoughts?
Yes. And your algorithm metaphor is incredibly precise because it highlights the concept of a feedback loop.
Okay, a feedback loop.
Right. Your brain is a prediction machine. If you feed it a diet of insecurity, it will predict failure, and it will actually inhibit your cognitive functions and physical energy to match that prediction.
So you physically feel weaker.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which leads us directly to what is perhaps the most transformative and, well, definitely the most provocative concept in this entire philosophy.
I am ready. What is it?
The core lesson here is that attitudes are fundamentally more important than facts.
Okay, wait. I have to jump in here because this is the exact point where a lot of highly analytical, practical people might roll their eyes.
So I'm sure they will.
I mean, if I am facing a very real, very tangible fact, let us say I have a massive looming deadline at work, or I am dealing with a significant financial debt, my attitude does not magically change the math on my credit card statement.
No, it does not.
It does not add more hours to the clock. So how can anyone legitimately argue that an attitude is more important than a hard, immovable fact?
That is exactly the right question to ask. And it is a completely valid skepticism.
Good, because I was feeling pretty skeptical.
But let us examine the underlying logic of how a human being actually interacts with fact. The fact itself, the deadline, the obstacle is static. It just exists.
Right.
But your attitude toward that fact dictates your capacity to respond to it. The argument being made here is that the way you think about a fact may actually defeat you before you ever take a single action.
Oh, I see.
If your attitude is one of defeat, if you look at that debt and think, I will never get out of this, I am ruined, that is a preemptive surrender. Your brain shuts down its creative problem-solving centers.
Because it thinks the battle is already lost.
Exactly. You do not look for the extra freelance job. You do not rework your budget because your attitude has already concluded that the effort is pointless.
Wow.
On the other hand, a confident and optimistic thought pattern changes your resourcefulness. The circumstance itself does not change its shape until your resilient attitude forces you to take the actions that change it.
So it is not that the positive attitude magically makes the problem disappear.
Correct.
It is that the positive attitude preserves the cognitive bandwidth and the energy you need to actually dismantle the problem.
You nailed it.
That makes perfect sense, especially when you look at how this philosophy describes the victim of an inferiority complex. There's a phrase used that I think is brilliant. It says, they see all facts through discolored attitudes.
That is a great phrase.
It really is. It is like wearing a pair of sunglasses where the lenses are tinted with failure, exhaustion, and inadequacy. Every single thing you look at, even a totally neutral situation, is going to look dark and intimidating.
Because the lens is dirty.
Exactly. And there is a very validating point made here about why those lenses get tinted in the first place. The unavoidable blows of life, the sheer accumulation of everyday difficulties, naturally tend to sap our energy.
They absolutely do.
They leave us spent. And in that exhausted condition, the true status of our own power is completely obscured. But how can you actively flush out these discolored attitudes in your day-to-day life?
Well, when you are deeply fatigued, either physically or emotionally, you literally forget what you are capable of achieving. Your perception of your own resilience shrinks.
Which is terrifying, honestly.
It is. This is why the approach to fixing this cannot just be a vague intention to be happier. What is so fascinating about this framework is how highly structured and mechanical the solution is.
Okay, so give me the mechanics.
It outlines a highly specific, actionable micro-habit for daily life. The instruction is that the exact moment a negative thought concerning your personal powers comes to mind, you must deliberately, and out loud if possible, voice a positive thought to effectively cancel it out.
Right. Immediately.
Immediately. You do not let the negative thought sit there and fester. You do not entertain it. You immediately introduce a pattern interrupt to neutralize it.
This is essentially cognitive behavioral therapy before CBT was a mainstream clinical buzzword.
That is exactly what it is.
You are actively, aggressively managing your mental feed. But it goes beyond just playing defense when a bad thought pops up, right?
Yes, there is a proactive side.
Because there is a deeply proactive daily routine prescribed here. The instruction is to repeat specific, carefully chosen affirmations 10 times a day.
10 times.
And it doesn't just say to do this randomly whenever you feel like it. It provides a very deliberate schedule. It tells you to say these affirmations several times when you get into bed at night. Then you are supposed to repeat them 3 times upon waking in the morning, and you are also instructed to say them 3 additional times on the way to important appointments.
The psychology behind that specific schedule is incredibly sound.
How so?
Well, by repeating these thoughts as you get into bed, you are planting these concepts into your subconscious just as your brainwaves are slowing down and entering a highly receptive state.
Capitalizing on the sleep cycle.
Exactly. You are dictating the terms of the mental processing your brain will do overnight. And by repeating them immediately upon waking, you are setting the cognitive bias for your entire day before the stress of the world can intrude.
Wow.
You are effectively bookending your sleep with intentional programming.
Yeah.
And doing it before an important appointment is a targeted adrenaline regulation technique. You are fortifying your nervous system right before a high-stakes moment.
And the specific words used for this programming are deeply rooted in faith.
They are.
The text advises spending time mentally visualizing the presence of a higher power, of God, standing by you as a companion. It suggests leaning heavily on profound anchoring phrases, specifically quoting Romans 8.31, "If God be for us, who can be against us?"
Such a powerful line.
And Philippians 4.13, "I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me." Now, whether a listener approaches this from a deeply religious perspective or a purely psychological one, the mechanism of action here is incredibly potent.
Absolutely.
You are outsourcing the pressure. You are taking the immense weight off your own fragile, exhausted ego and anchoring your confidence to an infinite, unshakable concept.
That is the crucial takeaway.
Yeah.
The goal of this structured repetition, this deep prayer and practice of faith techniques, is to fill the mind to overflowing with dynamic faith.
Overflowing.
Yes. You are essentially flooding the engine. You want to leave absolutely no room for self-doubt to find a foothold.
That makes sense.
And to build on that foundation of confidence, without crossing over into the abrasive arrogance we talked about at the very beginning of this discussion, there's a very concrete exercise provided.
Oh, I love this exercise.
It requires you to make a true, completely honest estimate of your own ability. You do not inflate it. You look objectively at your skills, and then you deliberately raise that estimate by exactly 10%.
I found that 10% rule to be absolutely brilliant.
Right.
Because if you are struggling with massive self-doubt and someone tells you to just believe you are the absolute best in the world, your brain is going to reject that.
Immediately.
Your internal BS detector will go off and you will just feel like a fraud.
Yeah.
But 10% is a marginal game. It is believable.
It is entirely realistic.
It pushes your boundaries just enough to stretch your self-belief, to build a dominating habit of confidence without tipping you over into delusion or egotism. You are gently expanding your comfort zone every single day.
It relies on the principle of incremental growth. By consciously raising your self-estimate by just that small margin, you begin to take actions that align with that slightly higher level of capability.
And then the results follow.
Exactly. And as you take those actions and see positive results, your baseline shifts upward. This connects beautifully to a standout line quoted in the material from the philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Let's hear it.
He said, "Do the thing you fear, and the death of fear is certain."
Oh, wow.
This is the perfect anchor for everything we are discussing today. Feelings of confidence do not just magically appear in a vacuum. Confidence actually induces increased strength, and action is the mechanism that creates confidence.
That brings us right back to the idea of the algorithm.
It really does.
By taking action, by actually doing the thing that terrifies you, you are giving your brain new data. You are proving to your internal algorithm that you survived, that you were capable.
You are updating the code.
Yes. You are refusing to build up massive obstacles in your imagination, and you are consciously choosing not to inflate those real-world obstacles with the oxygen of fear. You starve the insecurity, and it naturally shrinks, which allows your inner powers to finally reassert themselves.
Precisely. Fear is an emotion that requires avoidance to survive.
Oh, that is a great point.
The more you avoid the thing you are afraid of, the bigger and more terrifying it becomes in your mind. Action is the antidote. Action forces you to interact with the facts as they actually are, rather than the discolored, terrifying version of the facts your anxiety has created.
Okay, but I have to push back one more time because there is a danger here that we need to address.
Yeah.
Does this relentless focus on forced optimism, this constant canceling out of negative thoughts and pushing through fear, mean we're just supposed to completely ignore the root causes of our psychological pain?
I am so glad you brought this up.
Because, are we just slapping a fresh coat of positive affirmations over a crumbling, deeply damaged foundation? Because that sounds like a recipe for a massive breakdown further down the road.
That is the most critical distinction we can make today. It is a very common and very dangerous misconception that this philosophy is about toxic positivity or ignoring deep psychological wounds.
So it is not that.
It is absolutely not. In fact, when outlining the specific principles for curing a lack of confidence, there is a very clear directive given. Get a competent counselor to help you understand exactly why you do what you do.
Oh, wow.
The instruction is explicit that you must learn the origin of your inferiority. You have to understand the childhood experiences, the past failures, or the specific traumas that built that crumbling foundation in the first place.
So it is not just blind faith, it demands rigorous self-examination.
Exactly. The process requires profound self-knowledge. This proves that the ultimate cure is a dual approach.
A dual approach.
You absolutely must practice the daily discipline of positive mental habits to manage your symptoms and keep yourself moving forward. But you must also have the courage to undergo deep analytical introspection to heal the root cause of those feelings of powerlessness.
That makes perfect sense.
You are bandaging the wound so you can function while simultaneously doing the surgery to actually fix the underlying damage.
That dual approach takes this from being just a motivational pep talk to a truly comprehensive system for mental resilience.
It really does.
As we wind down this deep dive, I want to synthesize the incredible journey we have taken today. The foundational truth we have uncovered is that your mind is quite literally the most powerful tool you possess.
Undoubtedly.
Just as you have the terrifying power to create the exact conditions you fear simply by constantly entertaining negative thoughts and sinister expectations, you equally possess the inner power to lift yourself from defeat to victory. But it is not a passive process. You have to actively, aggressively choose faith and courage over fear and ineffectiveness. You have to retrain your internal algorithm.
And you have to remember that your attitude is the lens through which your reality is filtered. You have the power to take off those discolored glasses.
Absolutely.
As you reflect on the invisible, intimidating barriers in your own life, I want to encourage you to apply the very first principle we discussed. Take a moment today, right now, to firmly formulate and stamp a vivid, detailed mental picture of yourself succeeding upon your mind.
I love that.
Make that picture incredibly clear, make it bright, and no matter what challenges arise, never permit that picture to fade.
I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to really mull over as you go about your week. If our attitudes can literally modify the facts of our reality by changing our capacity to respond to them, how many of the supposedly impossible barriers sitting in front of you right now are actually just illusions?
That is a big question.
It is. How many of those walls have been constructed entirely by your own fatigue, your own discouragement, and your own unexamined fears? It is a powerful question to ask yourself.
It certainly is.
We want to thank you so much for joining us on this journey today. Remember, we are just scratching the surface here. Please make sure to like and subscribe to get notified about the next episode in this brand new series exploring the power of positive thinking.
We will see you then.
Keep challenging those discolored attitudes, keep starving your fears of oxygen, and we will see you next time.